In the perpetual twilight of the deep, where sunlight surrenders to darkness, something ancient stirs. A creature emerges from a crevice in the coral, its body rippling with colors that shouldn't exist on flesh. 8 arms unfurl like liquid silk, each one tasting the water, probing the shadows, thinking independently. This is no ordinary animal. This is an intelligence so alien, so fundamentally different from our own, that scientists still struggle to comprehend how it exists at all. The octopus possesses a mind distributed across its entire body. While we centralize our thoughts in a single brain, 2/3 of an octopus's neurons reside in its arms. Each limb operates with startling autonomy, solving problems, making decisions, even continuing to hunt after being severed from the body. Imagine if your hand could think without you, if your fingers could learn and remember independently of your conscious mind. This is the reality of octopus existence, a nervous system so radically decentralized, it challenges everything we thought we knew about consciousness itself. Watch closely as a giant Pacific octopus navigates the kelp forests off the coast of British Columbia. Its skin transforms in milliseconds, matching the exact texture and color of barnacle-encrusted rock, then shifting to the burgundy hues of kelp, then vanishing entirely against the sandy seafloor. This is not simple camouflage. This is active computation happening across millions of specialized cells called chromatophores, each one controlled by muscles that expand and contract to reveal different pigments. Beneath these lie iridophores that reflect light and leucophores that scatter it, creating an optical system more sophisticated than any display technology humans have engineered. But here's the profound mystery. The octopus is colorblind. Its eyes cannot perceive the very colors its skin produces with such breathtaking precision. So how does it know what patterns to create? Recent research suggests the skin itself may see. Octopus skin contains the same light-sensitive proteins found in the eye, allowing the animal to sense its surroundings directly through its flesh, bypassing the brain entirely. The octopus doesn't just wear camouflage. It becomes the environment, through a form of perception we're only beginning to understand. Deep in the Mediterranean, a common octopus has made its home in a cluster of rocks. Dawn breaks above the surface, but down here, time moves differently. The octopus hasn't eaten in days. It's been guarding something. Thousands of translucent eggs hang from the roof of her den like strings of tiny pearls, each one containing a developing life no larger than a grain of rice. The female tends them obsessively, caressing them with her arms, blowing fresh oxygenated water across them, removing any debris or parasites that might threaten them. She will not leave this den, not to hunt, not to feed. For 6 months or more, depending on the species, she will remain here, slowly starving, her body consuming itself to fuel this vigil. Her skin, once vibrant and dynamic, grows pale and textured. Her arms, once powerful enough to crack open shellfish, weaken. She is dying by degrees, sacrificing everything for offspring she will never meet. When the eggs finally hatch, releasing a cloud of tiny octopuses into the current, she will have only hours or days left. This is not merely parental care. This is a biological imperative so absolute it borders on the tragic. Why such devotion only to die? The answer lies in evolutionary mathematics. Octopuses live fast and die young, most species surviving only 1 to 2 years. They reproduce once, pour every resource into that single event, and then their bodies simply shut down, programmed for senescence. A gland behind the eyes triggers this decline, flooding the system with hormones that cause the animal to stop eating, to lose coordination, to essentially self-destruct. When scientists removed this gland in laboratory settings, octopuses lived longer, continued eating, even mated multiple times. But in the wild, this death sentence ensures that parents don't compete with their offspring for resources, that the next generation inherits an ocean uncrowded by elders. Off the coast of Indonesia, something extraordinary is happening. A coconut octopus, no larger than a tennis ball, is collecting discarded coconut shells from the seafloor. Not one but 2 halves, hauling them awkwardly across the sand using a bizarre form of locomotion, walking on the tips of its arms while holding the shells beneath its body. This is exhausting, metabolically expensive behavior. Most animals abandon tools when they're not immediately useful, but this octopus is planning ahead. When danger approaches, a shadow passing overhead, or a predator in the peripheral darkness, the octopus stops, rapidly assembles the two shell halves around itself, and disappears. A perfect sphere, indistinguishable from the thousands of coconut shells littering this coastal habitat. This is tool use, deliberate, forward-thinking tool use, a cognitive achievement once considered exclusive to primates and certain birds. The octopus anticipated a future need and took action to prepare for it, carrying cumbersome objects for hours purely for eventual utility. In laboratory settings, octopuses reveal even more startling intelligence. They open child-proof bottles to reach food inside, navigating threaded caps that require multiple rotations and specific directional turning. They solve mazes with ease, remembering solutions after single trials. They recognize individual human faces, squirting water at researchers they dislike, while accepting food from those they favor. One famous octopus in New Zealand repeatedly short-circuited the lights in her aquarium by squirting jets of water at the overhead bulbs, apparently annoyed by the brightness, until staff finally moved her to a darker tank. But perhaps most unsettling is their apparent capacity for observation and learning through watching. When one octopus observes another solving a puzzle, it can replicate the solution without trial and error, demonstrating not just learning, but social learning, the transmission of knowledge between individuals. This raises profound questions. If octopuses can learn from each other, can share information, why haven't they developed more complex societies? Why do they remain almost entirely solitary? The answer may lie in their evolutionary history. Octopuses evolved intelligence along a path completely separate from vertebrates. Our last common ancestor lived over 500 million years ago, a primitive flatworm-like creature with barely a nervous system at all. Every aspect of octopus cognition evolved independently, converging on solutions to similar problems through entirely different biological architecture. Where we centralized and encased our brains in bone, octopuses distributed theirs in soft, vulnerable tissue. Where we developed long lives and extended parental care to pass on knowledge, octopuses remained ephemeral and solitary. In the depths of Japan, researchers have discovered something that challenges even these assumptions. A species called the larger Pacific striped octopus, which does the unthinkable. It mates without dying. Males and females cohabitate, sharing dens, even sharing food, behavior virtually unknown in other octopus species. Females lay multiple clutches of eggs over their lifetime, rather than dying after one reproductive event. This suggests the octopus death program isn't inevitable, that different evolutionary pressures can produce different outcomes. What made this species different? The answer remains elusive, buried in ecological variables we haven't fully mapped, but it opens tantalizing possibilities. If some octopuses can escape their programmed senescence, if some can form lasting social bonds, what might they become given more time? What could an octopus society look like if they lived not for months, but for years or decades? Consider the architecture of an octopus brain. Instead of layers like our neocortex, it's organized in lobes, each dedicated to different functions, but all densely interconnected. The vertical lobe, in particular, shows striking similarities to the hippocampus in mammals, the region associated with learning and memory. When this lobe is damaged, octopuses lose their ability to learn new tasks, though they retain previously learned behaviors. This parallel evolution of memory structures, arising independently in mollusks and vertebrates, suggests that certain cognitive solutions may be universal, that intelligence might follow predictable patterns regardless of the underlying biology. In the coral reefs of Australia, a day octopus hunts in broad daylight, a risky strategy in waters filled with predators. It flows across the reef like sentient liquid, its boneless body compressing through gaps narrower than its eye, its arms reaching into crevices where no fish could follow. The only hard structure in its entire body is a small beak, hidden at the center, where all 8 arms converge, made of the same material as our fingernails. This extreme flexibility comes with a cost. Without bones or shell for protection, octopuses are vulnerable, which is why most species are nocturnal, hiding during the day. But this individual has learned something. It shadows a hunting grouper, a large fish that flushes prey from hiding spots. When the grouper chases fish out from the coral, the octopus is there, arms spread wide, capturing what escapes. This is cooperative hunting, a strategy that requires understanding another animal's behavior and positioning oneself to exploit it. The grouper doesn't benefit particularly, but it doesn't seem to mind the partnership either, and the octopus has effectively multiplied its hunting success by reading the intentions of another species. Suddenly, the octopus changes. Its skin erupts in traveling waves of dark and light, pulses of color that race across its body like lightning through clouds. This is not camouflage. This is communication, though with whom or about what remains unclear. Other octopuses in the vicinity might see it, but they're solitary animals with no social structure. Is this a warning, a territorial display, or something else entirely, a form of expression we lack the context to interpret? Some researchers propose that these color changes might be self-directed, that octopuses are literally showing themselves what they're thinking, externalizing their internal states in a way that makes cognitive processes visible. If true, this would be consciousness expressed on the surface of skin, thoughts made manifest in pigment and light, a form of awareness as alien to us as we would be to them. In captivity, octopuses present unique challenges. They're escape artists of legendary skill, capable of squeezing through any opening larger than their beak, learning to unscrew aquarium valves, lifting lids from above, even leaving their tanks at night to raid neighboring enclosures before returning to their own. Aquarium staff have found octopuses in filtration systems, in adjacent rooms. Even in pipes, they've somehow navigated in complete darkness. This isn't just opportunism. It's problem-solving that requires spatial awareness, memory, and goal-directed behavior. One octopus in Germany apparently grew bored with her tank and began short-circuiting the lighting system by shooting water at the bulbs. The subsequent power outages and facility flooding cost thousands in repairs before staff figured out the cause. Was this vandalism, protest, a form of play? Without language, without any way to ask, we can only observe and wonder. But perhaps the most profound mystery isn't what octopuses can do, it's what they feel. Do they experience pain? Certainly their nervous system can detect harmful stimuli and trigger avoidance behaviors. But is there suffering? Is there a subjective experience of distress? The arms, with their independent agency, complicate this question enormously. If an arm can learn and remember independently, does it have its own experiences, its own primitive awareness? Recent animal welfare laws in several countries now recognize octopuses as sentient beings, requiring anesthesia during scientific procedures and prohibiting the worst forms of captivity. This legal recognition acknowledges something science is still struggling to prove, that behind those alien eyes exists not just mechanical reaction, but something akin to experience, to feeling, to a form of consciousness we're only beginning to respect. In the cold waters off Antarctica, the Antarctic octopus moves slowly through the perpetual twilight of the Southern Ocean. Here, in waters that hover just above freezing, this species has evolved blood that remains fluid, despite temperatures that would crystallize the hemoglobin of its tropical cousins. It lives longer than most octopus species, up to 4 years, moving through a world of glacial slow motion where energy conservation is paramount. This extreme adaptation reminds us that octopuses have colonized nearly every marine habitat on Earth, from the crushing pressure of the deepest trenches to the sunlit shallows of tropical reefs, from the Arctic to the Antarctic. Some species grow no larger than a coin, hiding in tide pools, their entire life cycle playing out in months. Others become giants, the largest specimen ever recorded spanning nearly 10 meters from arm-tip to arm-tip, weighing over 70 kilograms, a creature that would dwarf a grown human. Each species represents a unique solution to the problem of survival. a different expression of the octopus blueprint. The blue-ringed octopus, barely larger than a golf ball, compensates for its size with venom powerful enough to kill 26 adult humans, tetrodotoxin concentrated in its salivary glands. The mimic octopus contorts its body and behavior to impersonate lionfish, sea snakes, even flatfish, shape-shifting not just in appearance, but in movement patterns. The giant Pacific octopus lives up to 5 years, unusual longevity for a cephalopod, prowling rocky reefs where it can grow to massive proportions. Climate change now threatens these remarkable animals in ways both obvious and subtle. Ocean warming affects the oxygen content of seawater, and octopuses, with their active, energy-intensive lifestyle, require oxygen-rich environments. Acidification threatens the shells of the crustaceans and mollusks they prey upon, disrupting food webs. Pollution introduces microplastics and heavy metals that accumulate in their tissues. But perhaps the greatest threat is more immediate. Octopus fishing has intensified globally, driven by increasing demand for human consumption. In some regions, populations have crashed by more than 70% in just 2 decades. These are not slow reproducing animals that can bounce back from overfishing like whales or sea turtles might, given protection. Octopuses live fast, die young, and when their numbers drop below critical thresholds, recovery becomes uncertain. Some researchers advocate for octopus farming to reduce pressure on wild populations, but this raises profound ethical questions. If octopuses are as intelligent as evidence suggests, if they can suffer, feel stress, experience boredom, then confining them in aquaculture facilities might constitute a form of cruelty we should not accept. We don't farm primates for meat, despite their nutritional value. Should intelligence in a radically different form receive less consideration simply because it evolved beneath the waves rather than in the trees? As night falls over the reef, a different world awakens. An octopus emerges from its daylight hiding place and begins to hunt. Its skin darkens to match the night water, its arms spread wide, sampling chemical signatures in the current. Somewhere ahead, a crab moves across the sand, unaware it's being stalked by an intelligence that can predict its movements, plan an approach, strike with precision. The hunt is over in seconds. 8 arms converge, trapping the crab before it can react. But then something unexpected. The octopus doesn't immediately consume its prey. It carries the crab back toward its den, pausing multiple times to adjust its grip to ensure the prize doesn't escape. This is delayed gratification, the ability to resist an immediate reward for a greater future benefit, another marker of sophisticated cognition. Back in the safety of its rocky shelter, the octopus finally feeds, using its beak to crack through the carapace, injecting enzymes that begin digesting the flesh from within. This meal will sustain it for days, allowing it to remain hidden during the dangerous daylight hours, conserving energy for growth, for survival, for the eventual reproduction that will end its life. What thoughts pass through that distributed mind as it feeds? Does it experience satisfaction, pleasure? Does it recall previous hunts, plan for future ones? We may never fully know. The subjective experience of consciousness might be fundamentally incommunicable across the evolutionary gulf that separates us. We can measure neural activity, map brain structures, catalog behaviors, but the felt quality of being an octopus, the actual experience of existence in that form, remains locked behind barriers of biology and deep time. Yet perhaps that mystery is precisely what makes the octopus so captivating. In an age where we've mapped the genome, photographed distant galaxies, and decoded the fundamental particles of matter, here is something profound that still eludes us. An intelligence that evolved along a completely different path, that solved the problems of survival through utterly alien solutions, that experiences the world through senses we can barely imagine. The octopus reminds us that consciousness is not a single thing, not a ladder with humans at the top and everything else arranged below in order of decreasing worth. It's a vast landscape of different solutions to the challenge of being alive, of navigating a complex world, of making predictions and decisions that improve survival. Some of these solutions involve centralized brains and long lives, and social learning passed down through generations. Others involve distributed cognition and brief solitary existences and bodies that think through the tips of their arms. Neither is better, neither is more valid. They're different strategies, different experiments in the vast laboratory of evolution, and both have persisted for hundreds of millions of years, which means both work, both succeed at the fundamental task of continuing to exist. As we peer into the ocean's depths, as we map neural pathways and decode skin patterns and marvel at problem-solving abilities, we're not just learning about octopuses. We're learning about the nature of mind itself, about what intelligence can be when freed from the constraints we assume are universal. We're discovering that thinking can happen without centralization, that consciousness might exist without language, that awareness can be distributed across arms instead of concentrated in a single brain. The octopus has been on Earth far longer than our species, surviving mass extinctions that obliterated 90% of marine life, adapting to oceans vastly different from those we know today. It has already proven it can endure. The question now is whether we will allow it to continue, whether we will share the ocean with this ancient intelligence, or whether we will consume it into extinction before we've fully understood what we're losing. In the end, the octopus asks us to expand our circle of consideration, to recognize intelligence in forms that don't look like our own, to extend empathy toward minds that experience reality through mechanisms fundamentally different from ours. It challenges our assumptions about what deserves protection, what merits ethical consideration, what qualifies as a thinking, feeling being worthy of respect. Perhaps that's the true mystery, not how the octopus thinks, but whether we can think broadly enough to include it in our moral universe, to see past the alien exterior to the awareness within. In those strange rectangular pupils dilating in the current, in those arms that taste and think and remember, in that skin that sees and speaks without words, there exists something irreplaceable, something that, once lost, could never evolve again. The ocean holds many wonders, but few as profound as this. A mind unlike any other, solving problems we haven't even thought to ask, experiencing existence in ways we're only beginning to imagine. The octopus doesn't need our understanding to continue being what it is, but we, in seeking to understand it, might discover something essential about the nature of intelligence itself, about the many ways consciousness can manifest in this living world we share. The currents flow, the octopus hunts. The pieces. And somewhere in that distributed network of neurons, in that body that thinks with its skin, there unfolds a form of awareness as valid and valuable as our own, even if forever beyond our complete comprehension. Subscribe to our channel for more amazing documentaries like this one. See you in the next video.